I never thought that I would ever say that I don't want to go back to corporate. I had a mentor ask me this profound question. What would you do if you had all the time and money in the world? I knew that I wanted to do something related to helping women, democratizing knowledge for anyone and everyone. I hope that no matter what happens, I leave this world to have made as much impact as I could and have no regrets. So my definition of success now is to stay as long as I can on this journey so that I don't go back into a corporate world working for somebody else, to move towards that direction. One of my biggest lessons is this. In the last episode, I talked a lot about the struggles of what I was going through, leaving the corporate world, getting into entrepreneurship. And in this episode, I want to share my experience on all the great things that have come out of it and what I've discovered and learned about myself. For example, the joy of writing. I had always done it early in the years, early teens. I was editor of my school magazine, and then I went to work for a newspaper, and then I worked for a publishing company. I kind of just buried all of that and went into the corporate world after university, and now just in the last 2 years rediscovering my joy of writing. So I only figured that out once I gave myself this little goal of writing on LinkedIn at least 5 times a week. That just opened up so many things, and today I've been writing for magazines. I have a column in Her World. That's a magazine here in Singapore for women. I also went into, other magazines where I did op-eds and even the national paper. So that's just one example of something that I've discovered about myself as I'm going through this process. Other things that came up for me has been, I actually didn't know what it would be like to live this life. And I first noticed that when I went to meet a friend who was working in corporate, and I was going to meet her at this coffee place. As I was waiting for her, I saw people with a job kind of walk in, and then, they're doing their meetings. And I used to be one of them. And I remember sitting there just looking at that and just feeling no sense of wanting to go back to this world. I never thought that I would ever say that I don't want to go back to corporate. So my definition of success now is to stay as long as I can on this journey so that I don't go back into a corporate world working for somebody else. I might do it in different ways, but not in the traditional way that I thought was my dream as a 9-year-old to be a CEO. That dream is now redefined. I am CEO in so many different sense, but I just never expected that. I remember being on this trip in Okinawa, Japan with my friend Lynette. I got this message to have a call with this person that invited me to write for this magazine called Her World. It's got a largest population of circulation to women in Singapore. And I think it was a little bit of a, oh my God, like they want me to write. I have my own column I write every 2 months. I also felt a little bit like Sarah Jessica Parker, Carrie in Sex and the City, right? Having her own column kind of thing. So that was, I think, a very new feeling for me. It's like, wow, like this writing is being appreciated and they want me to do more. I also ended up in the front page of the national newspaper talking about loneliness in the workplace. I've written workplace politics and Careerquake for the XY magazine, even a men's magazine talking about how women need to give permission post Me Too. For example, I talked about I accept hugs. Do you? This has just opened up a whole new other world for me. Since we're talking about Careerquake, that is going to be my first book. I had like 7 or 8 things I wanted to write about, but this is going to be the first book that I'm going to attempt. Did I ever think I'd write a book? Nope. But here we go. And if you're interested to read any one of my writings, I'm going to add the links below. With everything that I'm building right now, it all comes back to one very important thing for me. And it's this concept of democratizing knowledge for anyone and everyone. This feeling came to me when I was 25 and I was sitting in this room only because I had entered a beauty pageant. It was all just for fun. Me and a best friend from university, we turned 25 that year and we said, well, should we just like do it for the fun of it and just have some laughs? Like we didn't even think we were gonna, get past round one. But anyway, we got to the finals, and as part of that, we got to sit in a room to learn how to write our resume, how to dress for work, all these things that we were never thought about. And I remember sitting in that room going, wow, like I'm really lucky to be here. And I was just thinking of all the women out there who don't get to be in the room. And that was a seed that was planted. And obviously, I didn't have any capacity or monetary capability to do anything about it. I was just busy hustling to earn some money and make a life out of myself. It's come full circle now. And I think this is just my way of building content, putting it out there, my writing, videos, books, article, and just everything that I'm going to do is all about giving away everything I know so anyone in the world can get it. In 2016, I had a mentor ask me this profound question. What would you do if you had all the time and money in the world? And he would say to me then that he didn't know the answer to this question himself. And that's the reason he would take the next job and the next job and the next job. And he was a multiple time CEO. And when he first asked me this question, I just knew that I wanted to do something related to just helping women. And by this time, I had read the book Lean In. This is a book written by Sheryl Sandberg in 2013. And I remember I couldn't put it down. It explains so many things. I had so many aha moments and just explaining all the experiences I was having in the workplace. And I was like, oh my gosh, I got to go out and tell as many people as I can about this. And that was just the beginning of building Lean In Singapore with my great friend Helen Deuce. That happened in 2016. And I did that, building that community with Helen in the beginning in parallel to a corporate job. So one of my biggest lessons is that when you have the safety net of a paycheck, it is so important to try the other things that might be knocking. Either, your soul is knocking, or you get this feeling that maybe there's something else I should be doing. It's a great way to test it in parallel to having a job, because that's going to keep you secured and paid while you pursue and figure out this passion and what it looks like. Lean In is now 9 going on 10 years old. And had I not started that, I would not have evolved into what is now what I do for the Elevate group with Jingjin and a bunch of other work that I do for women, including talking about perimenopause, etc. Now, you might be asking yourself, if you feel misaligned in your career, is that something you should do, like try something in parallel? I think it depends on how misaligned you feel. If you feel strongly like this isn't something you should be doing in terms of your job, and you have an idea what that should look like, you should start creating transferable skills that would allow you to pivot. So let's say that you are in finance today and you want to get into marketing or on the creative side. So starting some side projects, the best ones that I've seen is like just volunteering your time for nonprofits and trying and testing out your skills so that you can get some experience and you can show proof of work if it's really difficult to pivot in the same company or in the same industry immediately. You want to start getting some experience. I think that's very different if you feel misaligned to your career to starting something that you might be passionate about and you just want to see if there's something there for you to look at, later. So yeah, that's something I would say if you're feeling misaligned to your career. A lot of people say that through my writing on LinkedIn is that I'm just so passionate about giving you all the secrets of navigating work, how it really is inside, including navigating power and politics and negotiation and networks and unconscious bias and all of that. I am so passionate about speaking out loud about those things because I have always been curious about people. I have read a lot of books studying people from a very young age, and I started reading business magazines since I was 9. So I have this ability to bring those two worlds together because I have not only experienced and done it, I have figured out the psychology and the nuances that most people won't even think about. Just today I was having a conversation with a woman that's expecting to be promoted. quoted. She's saying that, well, I'm still waiting. And they said that it would happen, but it's not happening. And they say I'm not ready. Not ready is one of the most common things that women will hear. And so I'm really practical about these things. And I said to her, well, you need to go ask them what their non-negotiables are. So I feel really passionate about giving people hacks, whether it's a micro hack or a macro hack, because I want them to move forward. And I feel like I have this gift of just knowing and figuring it out and making it super simple that you can action today. I have that gift, and I just want to help as many people as I can. So that's why I put out content every day about this stuff. I think this gift comes from just a lot of struggles and learning very quickly to adapt and learn and move on and making mistakes every day. I am also a great consumer of information. I'm watching everyone from Alex Hormozi to Daniel Priestley, Cody Sanchez, Stephen Bartlett, and I study them all, Mr. Beast. So I learn all of those things and then I distill them down and I'm able to take very complex things and combine what multiple people say and deliver it simply, because I think I've been on the other receiving end where people tell me all, big lofty ideas, and I listen to them and I go, I have no idea what you just said, and I don't know what I'm supposed to do with this. I feel like this is injustice that I have learned the skill, and now I'm just really, really good at it, at simplifying it, because I just want people to feel like it's doable. I can do it today. I think that's my thing. Like, if I'm going to tell you something, you should be able to do it today. I was in Africa and I met so many amazing women, and there was this one story I want to share with you, and there was this woman who is working in public service. She is also sitting on the board of a nonprofit. In fact, they gave her more responsibilities. She's single, and she was sitting through my personal branding masterclass. And when we had a one-on-one, I asked her, so what is your dream? What is it that you want to do? What is the life that you want for yourself? And she said, I want to cook. And I said, okay, do you cook today? And she said, no, I don't have time to do that. Between her job and the nonprofit, that's all of her time gone. So we had a difficult conversation about, is she willing to give up her role in the nonprofit in order to pursue her dream? Because there was no other option and she was willing to do that. So the one thing that I said that she should start doing is to cook, if not once a day, as many times in a week as she can, and to just video herself and to put it on Instagram. As she's cooking, tell the story behind that dish. This is the first dish that my grandmother made for me. And it was so special because this is something that I created myself, and it reminds me of this experience with my father. Behind every dish is a story. So I told her, start videoing yourself on your phone. I think if you have a phone and internet connection, that's the start of any business. And so she said, okay, I'm going to do that. And I told her, do you know that if you just took your story and a recipe, you could sell that for $7 to $11 to anyone in the world that might want your recipes. And this is the power of borderless and digital businesses in the times that we live in now, that anyone can sell to anyone in the world. And every single person has their own audience. And so if you can build that, Christo says, social is your new CV, you can make a ton of money. I am 47 now, soon to be 48. I know that I'm going to live much longer than my parents. Both my parents passed away at 75. And I have this death clock on my phone. Both my best friend and I have it. And I aim to live till 95. That's a lot of years ahead. So this reinvention that I'm going through right now, I'm pretty sure I'm going to go through one more, if not two more. And so I think we have this amazing opportunity ahead of us to continue to reinvent and have second, third, even fourth careers in our lifetime. Healthcare is going to catch up, and if you're taking care of yourself, I think we can live well. So that's what I'm just kind of mindful of as I'm building this. This might not be it. I think it's going to evolve and continue to evolve, and I don't know what this is going to look like. So I hope you'll keep following and see what happens. I think we can all be so pressured about timelines and how we making the most out of our days, etc. I think about that all the time. And just thinking of, what is the kind of life that I want to lead? What legacy do I want to leave behind? What will people say about me when I'm not here? These are all the things that I think about. I hope that no matter what happens, that I'm able to, when I leave this world, to have made as much impact as I could and have no regrets. I think just asking that question on, what is it that you want life to look like, and what's a little step that you can start with today to move you towards that direction, is going to get you closer to what that big dream might be for you. So this brings us to the end of the first part of the Careerquake arc. But the conversation doesn't stop here. There's so much more to unpack, from live events, speaking engagements, and even an upcoming book. Careerquake is just the beginning. Subscribe to Raw with Uma for updates, or reach out if you'd like to work with me on this journey, because reinventing how we work and how we live is far from over. Thank you for listening to Raw and for sitting with me in the messy, unfinished, beautiful middle. If something in this episode resonated, I'd love if you could follow and subscribe on Spotify, YouTube, or Instagram. It's Raw with Uma everywhere. Please leave a rating on Spotify. It helps keep the podcast free for listeners. And if you can think of one person to share this episode with today that will find it useful, please do, because the conversations we need most often start one-to-one. If you've got a question or thought you'd like me to unpack in a future episode, drop it into the YouTube comments and I'll bring it into the conversation. I'm Uma, and this is Raw.